Welcome back everybody, here on JustDaZack. That's my continued mission to show you guys an interesting video game almost every single day. This time we are going to have a look at a game called The Fertile Crescent. Well, to be honest, the full title in the Steam description is TFC, The Fertile Crescent, and I think I haven't found anything else that disproves this. I think TFC stands for The Fertile Crescent. That means the full game's title is The Fertile Crescent, The Fertile Crescent. Well, that's the thing. Regardless, this is a strategy building, completely very classic RTS real-time strategy game. Very much inspired, in my own opinion, by the likes of Age of Empires. And with a nice art style, which is currently available in early access. Full transparency here as always, I did receive free key, or I did acquire free key for this game. And I did play roughly about 1.5 hours of this in preparation for this video. Not that that helps any, but I did play this game a little bit. So right now, again, this game is in early access. It's supposed to come out of early access like in a year. There's no clear date when it's supposed to leave it. That is kind of common. They do state that there will be a campaign later on. Currently, there's not. There's only 2 game modes. There's skirmish mode, where you fight your AI combatants, or you can also play with friends or against friends. So this game has multiplayer feature. There's a horde mode, which I have not played, which supposedly you can also play with a friend, or at least that is being planned as well. There's for different difficult modes. And oh boy, we're not gonna show you the biggest one today. Let's actually try multiplayer. No, okay. Regardless, there is a tutorial which is actually very nice voice acting, explains the basics to you, but also nothing more than the basics. I did play the tutorial in this game in preparation, and this essentially taught me like the first 3 buildings of like, we're gonna see in a second how many buildings there are. Which is a good thing for like a part 1 of like part 2, part 3, part 4 or so. But I wouldn't be surprised. I'll take that with a little bit of like a star with that. For a beginning right like this, it's fine because I guess everything else could be taught either in more upcoming tutorial things, and of course during early access a lot of things might change also mechanically, so having a tutorial that covers everything and then everything changes, I see that this might cause a lot of unnecessary difficulties. So yeah, okay, and I could see this becoming a lot of this becoming explained, getting explained, there we go, English, during a potential campaign, which I'm very much looking forward to. So before we start, in an RTS, one thing that is always very important is a lot of settings menu, frankly. Right now we have display, UI, and game scaling. Would be nice to have a little bit more. We have essentially just window or full screen mode, especially like, you know, if you already go with this. Would be nice to give me at least like a slider to improve the UI elements or so. I found it a little bit small, but just a little bit for my personal taste, but there's a lot of people with a lot of different tastes, right? Also gameplay, we have a smart unit selection. Remove any civilian units from selection if selected box includes any military units. That is actually a common staple of this genre, also very nice to have. What I find out, what I personally was missing, and keep in mind, I'm not a pro gamer or pro RTS gamer, never. I'm filthy casual as they come, even though I did, you know, dabble and I did try to understand some games on a competitive level, like StarCraft 2, Age of Empires 2. I did play this game in competitive just to understand, you know, what on that level of gameplay is required. So I think I have, at least as a filthy casual, a little bit of an understanding what is important in an RTS game. And I also know that Age of Empires 4, for example, lacked a lot of these features that are common stable in this genre. And maybe this is also a reason why this genre, RTS itself, is kind of difficult to get into, because there's a lot of quality of life, little things that have a huge impact on the skill ceiling and the gameplay feel of these games. For example, which we're gonna get to, audio has just 2 sliders, not enough in my opinion. Hotkeys, very, very important in RTS games. You know, for personal taste, accessibility, but of course also like if you want to play this competitively. This right now is a huge focus. There's just skirmish, there's a horde mode. There is an emphasis from the Fertile Crescent on multiplayer games. When I record this video right now, there is like only 1 day left to, you know, apply for a officially hosted tournament. So I think they tried to push towards this, you know, competitive thing. And one thing what I just mentioned was with Age of Empires, for example. When that game got released, people were outcrying that you couldn't really customize your grids. Like when you click a building, usually in this bottom left corner, you have like you will select a villager, you build a house, build a barrack, build an archery range, which are in this game as well. And these have associated keys, right, on your keyboard. And there's a different like grid systems for that people are accustomed to, especially on a competitive level. Luckily, here the Fertile Crescent does allow you to rebind your keys, and you can even watch them. Like, what did I just click? Buildings production. What I just said, essentially mana. My English today is on top, but if we select a villager, these are the different keys that we need to press to build a thing. Trust me, you're not gonna see much of that during my gameplay. I'm not that good at all to even remember any of these keys. But you can customize them. That's very important, and I like to see that. Would be nice to still have like presets of like grids, because even I was surprised that there's not necessarily a QWERT grid, meaning like the top left building is QW, to essentially have this visual identification. I hope this makes sense with your keyboard, but you can customize that. That's important. One other thing is, for example, what I saw in here, and maybe it's in the game. If we go to villager actions, we have an attack move here for the villager. Actually interesting. I'm not sure if that is currently implemented for the military units, which is a little bit weird, because I didn't manage to get that work during my gameplay. That might be just my lack of skill and understanding, but I also didn't see any hotkey settings here for especially or specifically military building units. We have productions, which is just for, you know, if I want to build units in the production building, that's what that is for. And we have villager action, building action, general action, wonder action, spectator, marketplace. I don't see any like military unit actions, which I find interesting. So I couldn't really initiate the viewpoint, which I find interesting. Also, I'm the best, what I just started to say a second ago. When we go back to, smart unit selection, what I find out with my limited knowledge is that is good to have here, and you can turn it on and off. But I found out that I got used, even in my filthy casual approach, so to speak, to select different groups of units in RTS games with the shift key. Like, I will select a unit, shift key, keep holding the shift key to then drag and drop over a different bubble of units, so to speak, to also select them. That is not possible in this game. And now with this rambling done, let's actually show you what the gameplay is. I'm gonna start the skirmish mode. And there's another thing. So we have, skirmish mode is a common staple in this game's Command and Conquers, Age of Empires, StarCraft, of course, where you can select different maps and so on, different AI companions or adversaries, and so on, and different map styles. And that is already a thing that I noticed. All the selection we have for maps is the size. We can go with small or large. Small is for 2 players, large is for 4 players. You can't have anything that is 3 players or 5 players or even more. You can select different teams, I like that. You can select different difficulties and colors for your adversaries and companions and for yourself, which is cool. But you also don't have anything like maps like that, which are so common in my opinion in this genre, where you have like everyone starts in a corner, which you can even see in a little preview, and you can select your starting position if you want to, and for your companions and so on, or completely randomize this, or maps where everyone is very close together, or everyone is just in one corner, and then which also has a lot of competitive things, mind space to keep in mind. But yeah, all the options we have is small, large, 2 or 4 players. We don't know what the map likes. This is always like a little bit of what we see in the background, which is beautiful. But this is like as bare bones as it comes, frankly. So, With this, let's actually go. I want to have this guy on familiar. I tried to play against skilled at least, and I lost completely because this game is also surprisingly fast paced and chaotic in my, again, very, you know what, I'm gonna go you just to show you guys how the AI is a little bit. I'm gonna go with these teams. You know what? I'm gonna make you, no, am I gonna make you master? No. We're probably going to win too easy against such a high difficulty. So what I was trying to say is, there we go. This is the gameplay. First off, we have this pregnant woman, which is also being referred to here as a pregnant woman in the tutorial, is our tribe, which we need to build the village center. I'm gonna build it like here. So this pregnant woman somehow transforms her kid into a giant building. Don't ask me how that works. But then we can just keep on building that. So we have a little bit of an option where we want to play this. We can zoom in and out. We can see what our AI companions, or well, if you play this in multiplayer, our other companions do. That is great. There is some neutral buildings which we essentially need to conquer with outposts. That gives us additional bonus. Like this gives us more knowledge for our technology tree. And what that is, I'm going to show you in a second. And we have a scout, of course, which we, with a shift click, which I like, can just send around to scout the area. I'm gonna make you back. And this is how you start. So this game tries to make this RTS formula a bit more approachable. And it succeeds on some things, and in my opinion, doesn't really in other things, mainly by always producing villagers. If you have the space, as you can see in the top left corner, I have so many villagers, and I can only have so many, 8 out of 10 right now. To increase my maximum limit, I need to build houses, dwelling, which increases right now my capacity by 6. We have different resources. We have food, which we can gather from berries, from farms, which we build by hunting. We have trees for chopping wood. We can collect bricks, so to speak. We do that by essentially going to build a clay pit in these blue areas. These are wetlands. This is where we gather clay and turn that clay automatically into bricks. So we have essentially bricks, wood, and metal. Metal can be found here. There's metal, which we also just mine with our villagers. And then we use these resources. And very important, this is why it's the Fertile Crescent, the most important actually, food. Because we are running out of food pretty much all the time, because I'm gonna be granary here. So you're gonna shop wood, because every villager, well, eats. As you can see, food is consumed always. And if we run out of food, there's like a counter where our people starve. If that runs out, we automatically lose. On the contrary, if we have a bunch of food, if we have an overabundance on food, we get a more knowledge generation, and our villager training speed will also be increased. What is knowledge generation? Knowledge generation is going to happen automatically. That is this bar when it fills. We get 1 point. If we have X points, we can trade them into some permanent buffs like 50% more farming speed, 30% more mining speed. There's also technologies where we can essentially, through this knowledge, choose, so to speak, a tribe, the Assyrians, the Babylonians, or the Egyptians, where we can differentiate our playstyle, which in other games like StarCraft, the aforementioned StarCraft and Age of Empires, do that via the village center. Here you have to essentially not like research it, you just buy it via your knowledge points. So food, very important. If you run out, or you can lose if you have not enough, everything will be slow. So while I tried to explain all these things, we forgot the most important aspect. So this game tries to make this genre more approachable, which I find very cool, actually. Again, you don't need to click a button to produce villagers. It always happens, which encourages you and essentially forces you to, always go ahead. I'm actually gonna you guys please all go hunting. There we go. To make use of your villagers. Because if you look up like any guide, usually when people try to go, I want to learn how to play this RTS like StarCraft, especially Age of Empires 2, on a competitive level, what would you recommend me? What is the #1 tip to get better at the game from my casual campaign play? And usually the first beginner thing that everyone needs to learn, you know, keep producing villagers, because you can use your villagers to get more resources and get a good economy going on. And that's usually, and I did that pretty much for like 20 years or so. Usually new players don't buy or produce villagers and then just try to play the entire game with a handful of villagers, while quote-unquote the pro gamers, especially in Age of Empires, to try to go like up to 100 or 120 villagers out of 200 total population to really get a cool and strong economy going. And normal players start to go with like 30 or so. I hope this makes a little bit of sense. Also, we want to build another house to produce more said villagers. Again, that is what I like. I can like say build this building, shift click here, and after they build this, they will automatically go and collect wood again. I love that. And there we have this neutral building. There's another settlement which also gives us more villagers. We also have this. I think I want to go wood cutting speed, farming speed, brick. Let's go with this. We don't have many people collecting bricks right now. What are our companions doing? I mean, they have like 2 dwellings. I mean, the AI is... the easy ones are definitely easy. And then it goes up very quickly, very strong. So, when I said this is a cool approach, right? Because again, villagers are pretty much always being built. And you always, you know, get a big question mark if they're idle. So as a new player, you're definitely encouraged to make use of them. Like, even if that's not like optimally, you always send them, okay, at least collect wood, or at least collect food, or just go over there or build something. So every one of your villagers contributes like something, right? And I send you around. My companions already explored the map. And the AI already built a bunch of farms. Farms are essentially unlimited supplies of food. And that depends on the fertility. There we go again with the name dropping of this game, of the land, so to speak. So that is important for, as far as I know, farms and farms alone. So if I want to build a farm, a villager can work the farm to produce food. The farm must be placed on fertile soil, and the farmer produces food faster on more fertile soil. So as you can see here on the stone, I can't even build a farm, and here I can build it like here. Or we can build it here in the wetlands, which is also being used up for our clay pots, but that is, of course, very, very good soil. You see, oh man, all the green circles filled, so the villager is going to produce food here the fastest on the farm. So you want to try and, you know, optimize your farm placement as best as possible, so to speak. Man, our dwelling is already full. Can't keep up because I'm talking so much. Probably not the best. No, actually build these houses, collect food again. Again, you always, or pretty much always, want to have an overabundance on food to get more knowledge and more increased villager training. So you really want to make your people happy and, you know, give them all the food they desire. I want to go with the potter's field. So we did build this clay pit. We only have 2 people right now collecting stuff from there. I'm on attack. Oh, here, my scout. You know what? Sure. Oh, he already has a slinger. Yeah, the AI is surprisingly aggressive. So the other thing, which I mentioned earlier, is even though this is definitely making the game easier or more approachable, that villagers are being produced automatically, why do I think that at some aspects it's maybe not as approachable? Frankly, the main reason for me, I'm gonna use you two, why not, build an outpost to claim this to get even more knowledge, is essentially the placement of the resources, if I'm honest. So as you can see, you are encouraged to get all these berry bushes, and you have all these forest trees and wetlands, so clay in these areas, metal is very obvious. Here you have some food with the hunted animals that can be hunted, metal and everything basically. The thing is, what I found very stressful, because you of course want to optimize your villagers somehow, and maybe that's just, you know, a beginner's mistake. Might just be on my lack of skill. But I found it highly stressful to keep in mind that, you know, everyone is always producing stuff, while enemies attack me, while I have so many buildings in comparison. So what am I going to do if I run out of food? It's kind of hard sometimes to keep an overview on how good we are on food, because if we build units, let's actually build an archery range. Oh, I need more clay for that. Great. Okay, in this case, you guys, every new villager, please give me more clay. We also want to increase our wood, because for the wood we need more farms. Oh, there we go. That's what I mean. It seems like we're constantly not keeping up on resources. And I found sometimes myself having a lot of food, and then I essentially was starving a second ago, so to speak. I do like that you can queue buildings, by the way. Very good. Oh, did I send you guys collecting? There we go. So once one of these farms has been built, one villager will automatically take care of that farm. That's great. Plus 0% farming speed for markers. Yeah, that's also a new building. So yeah, it tells you everyone is idle, but especially if you're on attack, you really are encouraged, which is a good thing on one part, to spread out. On the other hand, if you compare it to a game like Age of Empires, it makes it actually, I think, at least, I think, personal opinion of course, the game is way more approachable because first off, it feels slower also with the animation and you're not overwhelmed by too many villages out of the get-go, and the AI, you know, to stay competitive is also surprisingly aggressive, at least, well, the higher you rank it up. I really need to build something, by the way. And sometimes they still bug out a little bit, but that's fine. That's also like an Age of Empires. Yeah, but the resources are so spread out throughout the map. That is not necessarily so in standard Age of Empires, or to make it even more simple, StarCraft, where all you, even as a new player, have to worry about, okay, I have my base in StarCraft, there's some minerals in front of my base, and there's some Vespene gas in front of my base. I only have these two resources, and I only need to select X villagers, so to speak, to minerals, X villagers to Vespene gas. And if I want more, I need to build an entirely different base, and this is where the complexity starts, but still keeps it humble. In Age of Empires, you really usually have very thick forests, where people can't wander through. So you can build like what I did essentially here, a resource camp, and villagers will automatically gather the wood, and you can pretty much leave them in their corners, so to speak. Same with, I mean, the food is pretty much alright, even though the berry villages definitely are spread out. What I'm trying to say is the map itself is so open. You don't really have, like in Age of Empires, like a forest which gives you more safe space, so to speak. Man, I keep on rambling about. Maybe it's completely, you know, just being salty. I don't know. I actually want you guys to make a granary here and hunt these animals. Not sure how smart that really is, but sure, go, gimme. At least to do something. So I found it, especially once I wrapped up the AI, right? You know, the first two are definitely beginner mode. The first AI is actually more aggressive than the second AI, the easy one. Let's just call it easy, normal, hard, and very hard to speak. Again, easy occasionally sends these few units they have to the enemy, like you see here. Well, this is difficulty 2. I noticed difficulty 2, at least in my recent playthroughs, to be actually a little bit more passive. This is the worst example right now, so maybe I just had bad luck. Usually AI once did send like 3-4 troops occasionally. AI2 always stayed in the base. And AI3, I would have already lost. AI3 attacks under 10 minutes. And then what do? You as a new player have to, you know, try to build a base here, and oh man, my villagers are running out and I'm producing more, and suddenly I forgot to bring more people to food. And then the enemies already approach you and you essentially have to wall off your entire base system. So that's why I find it a little bit less approachable, even though they simplified this mechanic. The overall resource gathering seems to be more stressful, at least to me. And man, just to say the single sentence, essentially, I spent a lot of time, sorry guys. Because here's the drill, so to speak. While I build this, we're actually not much in danger, even though I should really build. Yeah, there's a scout coming. At least some kind of building here. I'm not doing anything. Look at the amount of stuff. We're just gonna take these researches. Because I really like it, the Fertile Crescent. I kept nitpicking here, and I think on a competitive level, which is probably nowadays you really need to have a certain standard, it's a high ceiling to fulfill, to get RTS players to be invested also in the competitive scene and so. And I think the game isn't quite there yet and still lacks a lot of things, but visually, atmospherically, I very, very much like the game. This really gives me nostalgia of these of the golden RTS genre time, so to speak. Man, when I grew up, so many RTSs were coming out. That's not really a thing nowadays anymore. Is he attacking? No, man. My AI companions are surprisingly aggressive. Everyone going with these slingers. I like the pixel art, and I have to admit the music of this game is honestly top-notch. I think this music is by far, like, it's so good, it's so atmospheric, it's so fitting for this genre. Also the sound effects in general mostly. I like the slinger sound, I like when, you know, we build something. So the developers definitely, you know, have experience in this genre, I think. Also, oh god, what am I gonna do with you guys? We have a bunch of food. You know, let's just go with a bunch of archery. Oh, I have like no clay at all. Great. So maybe that's the way. On the other hand, I also want to show you guys more of what the game. Also, like even our villagers are, which I like, is a little bit different in this game. They can fight and they will fight for you. And there's also some upgrades with the knowledge to make your villagers stronger. Like militia, villagers within village center or palace defense range gain +1 melee damage, +1 range damage, +1 armor, and +4 range attack run. You know what? Let's take this. Can they get rid of this? Got him! With an arrow now. Did they sling? I don't know. Didn't they use a sling a second before? But yeah, you even have these passive technologies. I like this. They try to innovate on this formula in subtle ways, and overall, the feeling is there. It feels great, and I'm happy that this game is quote-unquote just in early access, because that gives them time to hopefully really polish this out. I mean, very, very much looking forward to a campaign. The tutorial was already well done with nice voice acting. And that really made me feel very nostalgic. Also, we want this furnace, which essentially gives us upgrade. So all we need to do right now is essentially just to build units and to overrun the enemy. But for example, here's another tiny thing. We have 2 archery ranges. Again, I really miss like shift clicking. Let's click this archery range. I want this one too. It doesn't work. But at least we can double click them. That should work. Give them key 4. Did that work? It did. 2 archery ranges. Gonna build. Both of them are gonna build stuff. Nice. We really. Yeah. Maybe that's my biggest problem right now. I didn't really build any dwellings, right? Kept on talking. Didn't really do much else. Do have food. So let's use an early age technology. So I know this was recently added. This doesn't really give us much information. This is really a thing you really need all the interest. Oh wait, you can click this. I know, click this, great. So we have these different civilizations, Assyrians, Babylonians, and Egyptians, and you get a rough idea what they're good at. So far, I actually always chose Assyrians, because at this stage of the game, you pretty much want to go military and just overwhelm your opponent. So all the others that don't have 3 stars, I wasn't that interested in. So let's actually click this. So for example, the Assyrians were military pioneers, known for their organized armies and being the first to develop a system for conscripts. During the Bronze Ages, they grew wealthy from setting up trade colonies and controlling important trade routes. Wonder bonus, 10% attack speed for all military units per wonder level that has been constructed. And then we have these unique technologies like trade colonies. Outpost improves all villages' resource gathering speeds by 6%. Hard to say if 6% is that much, because outposts don't have that much of a range. I think conscripts, villagers within neutral settlement influence range get also extra stuff. Logistics, all military units consume -25% food. Organized warfare, all military units gain +1 melee attack damage, 20% military training. Cause yeah, I always choose this because I think the game, at least to my feeling, I do also like how it visually changes. That's awesome. The game really wants you to, that's my feeling so far, and again, I haven't played this on a competitive level, to really try to just get your economy going early on and then just spam the units. Which makes, again, the game feel somehow more stressful than other RTSs, but maybe it's on me. There we go, now we could place a Wonder, that is just level 1, which is giant, and gives us, that would give all our military units plus 10% bonus. And we have this palace, unlocks advanced military units, garrison up to 5 villages as priests to generate knowledge, provides influence within vision range, with the thing adds 8 housing. I actually don't know what that is, by the way. It provides influence within vision range, which is also kind of this thing. Not sure if this gives us different certain stats. I saw that. It's kind of hard to tell. We have surprisingly not that much clay. Oh, I actually wanted to upgrade our slingers here. So immediate upgrade as well. 20% faster range attack speed. Plus 2 siege damage. Each hit against watchtower damages both the garrison unit and the watchtower. And we have all these elite javelin. So military unit upgrades are essentially pretty much instant, which I feel kind of makes this game more aggressive as well. Because you can really time it so that you send all your units into the enemy, save your points with the food, and just when they are on the base, you instantly click this button and make all units that much stronger. And of course, like, I feel like, I don't know, maybe if people would really go and play this very aggressively, especially like with this, all military units, 25% less food, and extra free melee damage, and 20% military training speed. So yeah, just try to rush down the enemy, I feel. Like the AI does a little bit. Okay, these are our slingers. Let's upgrade these to elite slingers. We have our furnace, where we can buy different upgrades. We need, for the tier 1s, which we can't use right now, lead bullets. I don't have any materials, I forgot, yeah. So the way would be now to go with a resource camp, build a tier. I showed you guys the dwelling, which gives us more housing, resource camp, which just villagers can drop off wood, bricks, hunts, and metal, but not from the farms, keep that in mind, or from berry bushes, only hunts. I made that mistake a couple of times. A market where we can buy and sell resources. I have to admit, let's actually try that together. I did build a market earlier, because I had like unbelievably high amounts of clay in my last game, but no other resources. 2,000 wood. Well, to be fair, I'm producing like no units. So let's try to go with this. Queue is full. So I actually do not know how to... Oh, send resources? No, I actually don't know how to sell resources. Buy and sell, because we can buy, yeah. But how do I sell them? If that is the thing, we can send them to our friends. Here, friend. Have some wood, all of you. Here you go. Not sure if they appreciate that. Okay, what do we need? Oh, we still don't have enough housing. So I really hope the game, by the way, we can also build walls and watchtowers, which just gives garrison units plus 8 vision and attack range and 40% reduced damage from range attacks, which is still nice. And of course we have this the workshop. What do we do in the workshop? I never built the workshop. Wait, build the palace first. You guys help. There we go. You guys also, you are done with clay pit. Build this one dwelling and then a clay pit here. So I really hope, even though I feel like I completely nitpicked throughout the entire video pretty much, because I think this game still needs a lot of quality of life improvements, not necessarily polished, because what is here? Like the style, the visual style, the music, sound and everything and how it feels is very polished actually. I also didn't notice any bugs or so whatsoever. I still think the AI behavior still needs to be improved a bit, just from what I've seen. Oh, and suddenly our people are starving because I built too many units. This is what I mean. Sometimes, if you don't pay attention like I did, suddenly everyone is starving. That can happen so fast. Okay, everyone? Build farms. Wait, actually, granary, whatever, right here. And then just all the farms. Luckily, we have so much wood that we can just go completely haywire. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Make them close. Oh, you guys too. We have too many people. Actually, can you, just delete your villagers? No. So I guess maybe that would be a tactic as well. Just send villagers if you're starving or if you think you have too many. Send them over to the enemy. Can't delete them like in Age of Empires. Okay, whatever. Just build. Don't starve. Man, that would be embarrassing if I would lose to that. These guys are gonna win. I don't want them to win. Again, so, oh yeah, attack move is Q. So much for my initial nitpick. You can just press Q. And somehow I missed that in my last couple of games. Even though I had a look at that, huh? So I do know that the developers are... Oh god, we're actually... Wait, oh wait, I have a market. I can just buy food. Of course I can. From wood or metal. There we go. Actually, we need so much more. Guys! This is still not enough. Guys, could you please just... Oh man. And again, I don't know how to sell... guys. Could you please collect... Guys? This is terrible! I don't want to lose like this. Not... Oh, man. Yeah, don't starve. I don't want to lose like this. Oh, man. I am the worst. I really am. Resource camp, we need... Whatever. I don't even know where my buildings are anymore. Because I built all my units and then, of course, forgot about it. Because if you build a unit, that also consumes X amount of food. And of course, every military unit also consumes, you know, food like all the time. So your initial counter goes down, and essentially how fast your food depletes also goes down. And I found that sometimes, surprisingly, your people are starving out of nowhere. Because you think, oh man, I have a great economy, I have like 400 food. I now build a bunch of units, and then suddenly everyone is starving. Because, yeah, I forgot my economy in mind. Okay, we can go elite archers. Battering ram. I think that is what you build in the workshop. I never built a workshop. Elite sapper. Interesting. Archers are cool. Wheel villagers can carry 50% more resources, S+1 movement speed, and so on. I really like these. I mean, it's mostly just stat upgrades, but you know, economy, fighting, and so on, definitely interesting. I really hope this tech tree, so to speak, also gets more unique and more upgraded and more improved during the time to really allow for some very interesting builds. But yeah, I hope, even though because I was a little bit lost, right? People are starving again because my freaking unupgraded lead slingers. Did we give them like any upgraded, well, at least lead bullets, right? Can't afford anything else. My economy is a mess, but frankly, these guys should be enough. Let's just go yeah, these are just some villagers. 5 attack, 100 HP. Oh, these guys have only 80 HP. Let's have them attack. No armor though, unfortunately. But we have the numbers advantage. And against 2 more damage at least. And more range. In theory, okay, you guys also. But we should win this. Because the AI knows... we're killing all the villagers, so their economy is pretty much 0. The enemy will probably resign any second right now. Hello, how are you guys doing? Sling attack! Okay, just get there. Why can I not hit this guy? There we go. Shoot him! Not even enough. Just go. Now what? Where's my 4? Do I actually have a visual indication what my button 4 is? No. Would be nice for hotkey units for that as well. Also, what I found interesting is you can still click on the tiles like this is a plane, which is not that fertile. This is a plane that is very much fertile. Which, okay, but I see that visually. I actually don't need this window. And I sometimes, when I try to click a unit, I accidentally click the tile behind it, like this, and found that just a little bit unnecessary. Because so far the only, and I like that mechanic, like fertility of the land and so, but it really seems to be only matter, you know, well, everyone, let our villagers attack as well, whatever. There we go. Because so far, fertility, again, only seems to make sense or only matter for building farms. And a few wetlands for the clay pits, and that's about it. Would be nice to somehow make use of that in different aspects as well. Oh, I'm surprised that the AI actually didn't give up here. Oh yeah, what about this palace? So for example, in the palace I can send in units, and now they create... can even make them leave. Now they create more knowledge, but somehow influence as well, apparently. And it gives us housing. I mean, sure. Which is nice. But it feels like this should also shoot or so. Oh, yeah, one reason... yeah, we won. Come on, just bring this down. One reason is this as well, why I think this game might, you know, tend towards rushing, is that the village center actually can't defend itself. Like, it's not shooting arrows or so. So, if you just try to get military units very early on, or more villagers maybe, and then just rush over to your enemy. And, you know, the village center can't defend itself, so you just keep attacking. Your enemy might run out of food because they probably can't get enough food going to produce more villagers that could help. They don't have the military units, so you just destroy the building. It's tiny things like that, where I think this game somehow, even though it wants to be more approachable, and I like that approach that villagers keep being automatically produced, it feels way more hectic and more aggressive and more chaotic somehow. I can't imagine the stress that would pose upon me during multiplayer, so to speak. Regardless, so the Fertile Crescent, ladies and gentlemen, what is my summary? What is my final second impression in this case? Again, I played this for 90 minutes roughly before this, and clearly I missed a few things during that time again. I like the tutorial. That needs still more steps, hopefully doing, you know, more tutorial things or campaign. I really want to see a campaign. Horde mode, I like that you can apparently play that with a friend as well. Skirmish is cool. That really needs more, right? Like, give me more options. Like, map size, small, large is just, like, it's like as bare bones as it gets, especially if you want to rise this as a competitive game. You need different map style where people can try different mechanics or so. And just having small, large, and then being at random, generated randomly is just not enough. But overall, yeah, I like the game. I really do. I'm not sure if this came across during the video. I might have sounded more negative than I actually meant to, because frankly, I care. I really like TFC, the Fertile Crescent. The Fertile Crescent. I love the atmosphere. The music is so good. The style is good. The game feels good to play. It's very hectic. Too hectic for my thing. And I think this really needs a lot of quality of life improvements. Not necessarily polish. Quality of life improvements, adjustments, to really make it up to, you know, the standard, the bar they want to reach for this. Especially if you want to make this more multiplayer focused, if you want to establish a multiplayer community for this. I think, again, highly subjective, that this really needs more options in general, but also a lot of fixes and not fixes, adjustments during the core gameplay. But who knows, maybe if they really publish a campaign, the campaign is just so good from the writing and from the engagement that it doesn't really matter. I don't know. Horde mode is cool. You can play this with friends, and maybe that is enough to just, you know, get in the feeling of a kind of cool RTS game to play with a couple of friends. Maybe a highly competitive level is not necessary. I don't know. Development, hopefully, is the campaign. That would be cool. So, yeah. Thumbs up from me. But with a caveat, let it cook in the early access. Let it cook well, because we have a good stew brewing here, but it really needs to cook. It's for still some time, I think. And it tastes good already, but to eat more, we gotta, you know, add a few more ingredients and get a little bit more spice in there. I hope that makes sense. This was a very hectic video alpha for my thing, and I have a little bit of difficulty usually to get to the point anyway, and this might be one of my worst videos in that regard, because I just kept talking, and man, you know, the streamers or, you know, pro players who play this on a competitive level while talking, I played this so casually and I just didn't care because I knew I was not in danger and they were still too much. RTSs are stressful, man, but it's fun. Thumbs up. Please tell me what you think of my commentary and showcase thereof, and my opinion as well. Please give me a feedback. I think, especially here, that would be very, very cool to hear what you guys think. If you want to check out the game yourself, as always, link is down in the description. Please consider sharing the video, my god, English, on the last stretches is always the worst for my English. Make sure to stay awesome, and we're gonna see each other in the next video. Truly, thank you for watching.